Today I'll be sharing my grandmother's ham loaf recipe. Now, I first read the recipe and I thought, well, that's a lot of meat. But it said form into 2 loaves. But I'm looking at this and that's 3.5 pounds of ground ham. I did that in the food processor. We have 1.5 pounds of ground pork. Apparently it's kind of like the glue. 6 eggs, half a cup of milk, and 1.5 cups of ground cornflakes. Now, you'll also for a glaze, there are many glazes out there. My grandmother's just had crushed pineapple and brown sugar. I'll probably cut back on the sugar and do more pineapple. So let's get this going. All right, so basically you just mix all of this together in one giant bowl for mankind. And this looks like it's gonna feed an army. I planned on freezing some anyway, so that's good. Now, when I looked up the history of this dish, my grandparents are from the Midwest, so the ones I got this recipe from. And so that kind of seems logical. It's a way to use up ham, pork. I mean, Midwest is huge for producing pork. Just want to stir this up a little bit before I pour it in there. It's just lightly beaten there. Milk. Everything seems very much what you'd find on a Midwestern farm. I'm going to put some pork here. Midwest is really known for their pork tenderloin sandwiches. Usually if I go into a restaurant here in the South and they have pork tenderloin sandwich, I know that they're a Midwesterner. Pardon me while I wash my hands. So yeah, now the cornflakes, I don't know if that's very Amish. Pardon me. So, I don't know if anyone knows out there about if there's a connection. I mean, I know the Kellogg's did, they had an association with, I don't know, the 1800s when all that stuff came about was really kind of crazy. Religiously, spiritually, kinds of lotions and potions and cures and you know, it was just a kind of new age moment in history. So, yeah, so now you just get an upper arm workout mixing this. And probably gonna let this sit a little bit. We'll see if it needs it once I mix it up thoroughly. And just to let those cornflakes get a little more moistened so we have a good binder there. I'll be back in a second. Okay, now that I got my upper body workout, we've got our ham ready to be loaved. Now, I'm not going to put it in a loaf pan. Even my meatloaf, I kind of freeform it in a pan that's bigger than the loaf. And I think what I'm going to do here is try to make 2 loaves here. And then if I have any left over, which I think I might, then I'll use this muffin pan and make little individual little 1-biters. It'd be good for a quick breakfast option. So let's get this going. got my little wet towel here to keep everything from sliding so much while I work. That's why I said this is an upper body workout. So this is going to make so much. And once I get it in here, I'm going to have to use my hands to really shape it well and to make sure they're not touching each other. It smells so good. I think I only had this dish one time that my grandmother made, but I know she used to order it at a little restaurant we would go to. I try to make enough for 4 meals. That way we each have a dinner and the next day we have lunch ready made. And sometimes if I just want a salad or something instead, then I'll freeze it, and Chris has a lunch. For those days we may want to eat out and it's a Sunday or something like that. Now, this really does smell so good. Remember, the ham's cooked, so the only thing raw in here are the egg and the pork. I kind of like that I'm putting these ridges in here, because then when we go to put the pineapple on, oh, that's an idea. Make it look like a pineapple. And then we'll give it ridges. What do you think? Because it's going to be so good once that pineapple glaze gets on there. Oh yeah. I hope y'all are having a great weekend. Or a great week. A great day. I know we harvested some stuff out of the garden today, which is always nice. I think these are a good size. It's like maybe even a lunch and a half. Okay. So it says to cook these for 2.5 hours. Crazy. It's a long time. Try and get the... It didn't say anything about putting oil in the pan. I think it's going to render some grease. Just naturally. So let's see if we can get use the more blunt side of this and kind of do like a cross section. Like I said, those will get toasty, and then that juice will get down in there. I might go a little deep in some areas to get that juice down in there. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Doesn't look like a pineapple. We'll see. Okay, so this is going in the oven, 350, 2.5 hours. Then you take it out and you have to glaze it with pineapple, brown sugar, and put it in another half hour. So this takes quite a long time. And then I'm going to fill these muffin tins. They won't take as long. I'll test them and I'll tell you how long they take when I come back. Okay, before I move on to the glaze, I want to show you what we ended up with here. We ended up with 12 little muffin size, and I made sure to rub a spoon over it to make sure there's an indentation for the pineapple and brown sugar glaze later. And then I also had enough left over for a ramekin. It's very hearty. I mean, I guess you could put it just in a pan, maybe even like a cake sheet and bake it. You maybe not even have to do the loaves. And it may be way more simple, great for potluck or whatever. And this ham, I bought a whole ham at $3.99 a pound, not on sale. So it's pretty inexpensive. And considering you get all the protein from the ham and the ground pork and the eggs, it's pretty hearty. So we'll go on with the glaze next. Okay, I'm trying to get you close here. So my grandmother's recipe called for 2 cups of brown sugar and 1 small can of pineapple. And I'm a rebel grandchild, so I'm going to see how it does with 1 cup of brown sugar and a large can of crushed pineapple. And I just put it on the stove for a little bit to get it all melted. Probably let it cook a little bit on low. My sugar kind of already stuck to the bottom here. Oh, it's awful. My apologies. Let me get a proper YouTube spoon. There we go. Something that's not so loud. But the acid in the pineapple should kind of help that sugar on the bottom dissolve if you had any stick. And so you can see it's kind of wet. Probably a little bit more wet than it should be, but I did get quite a bit of juice out of the thing. And I did this. I put it in a strainer, put it in a measuring cup because it has the pour top. And then I will, did I just burn my thing? I think I did. Plastic string. Anyway, I'll just pour that juice into a bag and I'll freeze that. I'll make a al pastor out of it. You can use it for a cocktail. Use it for some chicken and soy sauce and black pepper marinade. Asian dishes. And just toss it in. I have all kinds of various bags of stuff like that in my freezer at all times. Like, you know, tomato pesto. I've got some verde sauce, tomatillo sauce in there. Coconut milk. Yeah. When I open tomato paste, I always put a little, you know, whatever is left over, I put that in a little bag and I freeze that. It's nice if I want to thicken something up and give it a burst of acid flavor. Anyway, so I'm going to stir this. We have 2 hours to go on the loaves. I'm not thinking it's going to take that long. And looking at this, I think it's going to be fine. And I wanted to make extra anyway because I made those individual cups. So I want to be kind of, I left a good indention in there. So I want to make sure to give them a lot of this pineapple brown sugar love. Yeah. All right. We'll be back. Okay, I've had the glaze going for about it's 1:16, so almost an hour. These have been in, and I just have it on low, kind of simmering away to cook down some of that juice. Now, these were brown in the oven. They had pulled away from the sides. You see that one Oh, that one I haven't covered yet. Huh. So that's kind of what they look like. They're a little pink in the middle, but I'm sure these are done. So I'm just taking a little bit of this pineapple, a little bit of the juice. I'm just topping it on these. Now it's funny because I had an indention in these, but that kind of went away in the baking process. So that was interesting. So I'm going to put these back in for, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes and let that kind of get nice and ooey gooey. I'm going to continue to let this cook down until our loaves are ready. I'll give you a peek at the loaves. They're still pretty pink. So yeah, they need more time. All right, so everything is done. I ended up adding the pineapple juice that I reserved into here with some water. It's a kind of a trick I learned a long time ago with meatloaf to help it stay moist. And this is pretty stuck to the bottom, but I put the water in. Started to absorb some of that water as it cooled. So hopefully these will stay moist. Now these, we did try one of these, or two. They did come out a little bit dry. But when I do them, when I reheat them from frozen, I'm going to put a little bit of water in, and I'm going to steam them kind of in the microwave to heat them up. The ramekin one looks okay. But these ended up cooking an hour for these. And these ended up cooking 2 hours, and then I put the glaze on, and then I let them cook another half hour. So this is it. It's, like I said, this is an old Amish recipe. Probably didn't use cornflakes. They may have used oats or something that were more handy. Again, if you know, tell me in the comments, because I've seen this made a lot of different ways with a lot of different glazes and ingredients. So, but I do like the pineapple ham glaze on this. So, I think using the large can of pineapple and only 1 cup of brown sugar and letting that kind of reduce some, I think that worked out well. And yeah, so I thank you for following me along. It's the crack of midnight here. So I'm going to let these cool, and then I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for watching. Please share. Ask your family if they ever heard of this, if they've from the Midwest originally. I'd like to hear your answers. And let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to hear where all of my friends are watching from. So take care. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.